Yeah, Dillon Gabriel is going to be QB2 this week because Shedeur Sanders is going to be QB1. And Gabriel got plenty of runway this season, had about 2 months essentially of starts. What they wanted to do by the end of the season is evaluate themselves thoroughly at the quarterback position and know what they have. And Shedeur Sanders earned another start. At least. The plan has always been to play him, right? That has always been what, from owner Jimmy Haslam all the way on down to Kevin Stefanski, who has been invested in Shedeur Sanders. They wanted to know what they have at quarterback, and considering the plays that he made, putting his team in position to win and actually winning, he has earned at least one more start, and I would not be surprised if he earns even more, Colleen.
How realistic is it to say they give actual consideration to starting Shedeur?
I think it is unrealistic. If you look at the Browns' schedule, it's home against Joe Burrow, on the road against Lamar Jackson, home against Jordan Love, on the road against Jared Goff, then home game in London against the Vikings, then no bye, and you come home on the road against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. That's a gauntlet. There's no way you're playing a rookie quarterback right out of the gate. It's just not going to happen.
Dillon Gabriel also, he returned to practice yesterday. Comparing can be difficult because everybody's out there. Some are against the two, some against the three. But Dillon Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders, what did you see?
It's a hard comparison to make because of what you just laid out. Dillon Gabriel is getting far more opportunities, at least through the first couple of weeks, than Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel, much like Shedeur, has had good days and bad. He's had more opportunities with ones and twos to have good days. I was not at practice yesterday. I will be there for the joint practice tomorrow in Philly. From everything I heard, Dillon Gabriel had a really good day yesterday, but Shedeur did as well.
So an NFL insider just basically confirmed what everybody was thinking. Jimmy Haslam didn't just ask Kevin Stefanski to start Shedeur Sanders, he flat out demanded it. Ian Rapoport went on TV and laid out how this whole thing really went down in Cleveland. And man, it is way messier than we thought. He said the plan was always to play Shedeur right from the owner on down. But here's the thing, if that was the plan, why wasn't he getting any reps with the starters? Why did it take Dillon Gabriel getting a concussion and a ton of pressure from the top to finally get this kid on the field? The truth is, Stefanski never wanted to make this change. The owner forced his hand. And now that Shedeur just won his very first start, becoming the first Browns rookie QB to do that since 1995, the whole power structure there is about to get blown wide open.
If he's going to be a franchise quarterback yet. It's only been one game. But here's what he did prove. He was no fifth-round draft pick. Aaron, what hurt Shedeur Sanders in the draft, don't misconstrue what happened. The draft was, his slide in the draft was about off the field, not on the field.
1,000%.
Mel Kiper grades people based on what they do on the field. That's why he thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. By the way, Cam Ward doesn't look like all that.
If you'd have told me, let's say you picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call. But that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
Look. Let's be real about what we're seeing. This isn't just some quarterback battle in Cleveland. It's a full-on power struggle between an owner who knows he found a gem and a head coach who was just too stubborn to see it. And the wildest part is, we all just watched it happen live. Let's go back a bit, because the backstory is everything here. The Browns took Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, and right away it felt weird. This is a guy most experts had as a late first-round talent. Mel Kiper Jr. thought he was the best QB in the entire draft, and he somehow falls to the 5th. You'd think Cleveland hit the jackpot, but no. Instead of developing him or even giving him a real look, Kevin Stefanski buried him on the depth chart behind Dillon Gabriel. And this is where it gets crazy, because while Stefanski was telling everyone Gabriel was his guy, the owner Jimmy Haslam was saying the exact opposite. ESPN reported that Haslam made it clear they had to evaluate both rookie QBs. The owner is publicly going against his coach. That's not how good teams operate. That's ownership telling the coach, your opinion doesn't matter.
We're doing this my way.
Jimmy Haslam, there's a lot of speculation. He wanted Shedeur Sanders. The staff drafted Dillon Gabriel, and they were doing that not because they necessarily loved Dillon Gabriel, they liked him, but they thought it would stop their impulsive owner from forcing them to draft in round 4 Shedeur Sanders.
Jimmy Haslam and Shedeur finna have their wrist up. Shedeur Sanders is guaranteed to start week 1 for the Browns. Now, I'm not saying that. This is what Fieldalytics is saying. Now, this is a /AI account that, you know.
And you know what the media called it?
The media saw it happening too. Bleacher Report literally said Haslam went over the coach's head to get Shedeur in the game. Heavy.com called it a mandate from the owner, not a suggestion, not a friendly chat. A mandate. That means Stefanski had zero choice. And you want to know why it got to that point? Because Dillon Gabriel was just awful. He started 6 games and went 1-5. His PFF grade was the worst in the entire league, 39th out of 39 quarterbacks. He was barely throwing for over 100 yards a game and couldn't hit a deep pass to save his life. The offense was painful to watch, yet week after week Stefanski kept putting him out there, acting like he was the answer when we could all see he wasn't. The local radio guys in Cleveland started going off, with one host even saying he thinks Stefanski would rather get fired than admit he was wrong and play Shedeur. Think about that. The people covering the team every day thought the coach would rather lose his job than play the talented rookie.
Some of the passes sailed on him. You get the second week of hearing his cadence as a lineman. You get the second week of seeing his passes come at you as a receiver. You're building continuity. And before everybody starts going to the, he should have started week 1, he could be our franchise coach. How about we make a deal? And I know for a lot of you younger people, this is hard because you're all about the next thing. How about this? How about we just take this thing week to week?
And then it happened. The moment that changed everything.
Then November 16th, everything changed. Dillon Gabriel gets hit, goes into concussion protocol, and suddenly Stefanski's out of options. Shedeur Sanders has to go in, and yeah, it was a rough start. He only completed 4 passes and threw a pick. But you know what? It didn't matter. It gave Jimmy Haslam the opening he was waiting for. Stefanski named Shedeur the starter for the Raiders game. And for the first time all year, the kid got to practice with the first team. Let me say that again. The potential franchise QB they drafted sat on the bench for months without getting any real looks with the starters. That's not player development. That's almost sabotage. It shows the coaches never even wanted him there. And to make it even crazier, Gabriel was cleared to play before that Raiders game. He was healthy, but Stefanski stuck with Shedeur, gave some generic PR answer about winning. But we all know the call came from the owner, and then Shedeur went out there and proved everyone right who believed in him. First runs rookie QB to win his debut in almost 30 years.
You regret it now.
Let's look at their schedule here moving forward. And I want to blow this all the way up for y'all because I want y'all to see this. So we know Shedeur Sanders is starting this 49ers game in Cleveland. I believe this is a very winnable game. The 49ers really isn't a blitzing defense. This is another game that I think we need to pay attention to because this is Shedeur facing Cam Ward. It's tension there.
That pass to Isaiah Bond was just unbelievable. 52 yards through the air, dropped in perfectly, the longest pass the Browns have had all season. Even their own superstar, Myles Garrett, said after the game that not many guys in the league can make that throw. When your best defensive player is freaking out about your rookie QB's arm, you know you've got something special. But listen to what Shedeur said before and after the game because it shows you his mindset. Before the game, a reporter asked what he wanted to show the fans. He just looked into the camera and said, "I'm who they've been looking for," and walked off. That's not cocky, that's pure belief. Then after he won, he said, "A lot of people want to see me fail and it ain't gonna happen," and he backed it all up. Now, he's the official starting quarterback moving forward. The genie's out of the bottle. And yeah, I know some will say it's just one game, but this wasn't just any win. He broke a 30-year team record and brought an offense that looked dead back to life.
Let's look at their schedule here moving forward. And I want to blow this all the way up for y'all because I want y'all to see this. So we know Shedeur Sanders is starting this 49ers game in Cleveland. I believe this is a very winnable game. The 49ers really isn't a blitzing defense. This is another game that I think we need to pay attention to because this is Shedeur facing Cam Ward.
And here's the part that should scare every other team. This is just the start. Shedeur did all that with only 1 week of practice with the starters. 1 week. Imagine what he's going to look like when he actually gets time to build chemistry and learn the offense. And the schedule ahead has some winnable games. If he plays well down the stretch, there's no way they're even thinking about another quarterback. But the real story is the mess behind the scenes. We know the coaches didn't want him. Insiders said the draft room barely clapped when they picked him, that there was a split and ownership forced the pick. The head coach got overruled in his own building, and that creates problems. That's why what Shedeur did is even more amazing. He succeeded despite his own coaches, not because of them. He won even though he was buried on the bench. He won despite all the noise. So here we are. The owner forced the coach's hand, and it might have saved the Browns. After 42 different starting quarterbacks, they might finally have their guy. The question now is if the organization can just get out of its own way and let him succeed. So let me know what you think. Was the owner right to step in, or should the coach always have the final say? Let's talk about it.